request Professor Ambrish S. Vidyarthi, Vice Chancellor, Bikaner Technical University, Bikaner, to join us on the dais. May I also request Mr. Mayur Zamwar, co-founder, True Scholar, to please join us for the panel, and Mr. Vijay Vardhan Singh from ELETS Technomedia, who will be moderating this discussion. The topic for the panel discussion is creating a framework for developing a research-ready institution to create global recognition and standards. Over to you, Mr. Vijay Vardhan Singh.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So we have seen in our previous sessions, the importance of research work in higher education. And in fact, it's needless to say that, the best educational institutions across the globe, they have a very robust, ecosystem as far as research work in higher education is, is concerned. So, in fact, fortunately, in India also, we, as we are understanding this, and somewhere as a regulatory policy also, and government is also realizing this. So, my question would start with Ambrish sir. That, sir, what do you feel? How we can, have a, a culture of, this research work in higher education system in India? I would like you to have your
Thank you. Actually, this in this aspects or in this dimension of the research, dimension, if you look at, all the Indian universities has, come up, up to the great extent. As the Professor Premrat ji was telling about that, what the need and what kind of, the institution's growth is there. So, since most of the, the requirement or the technological development, as well as developing the new technologies and, in concurrence with, there is a demand. So demand has been, increased, and therefore most of the institution has come up with this. But the major bottleneck is it requires heavy funding, and since the funding has to be, either the industry has to fund or the government has to fund, because most of the institutions who are, dealing with the graduate and postgraduate, they cannot sustain if they start the, the research component. But fortunately, it is happening, and the people are more to, the research to, remain in the picture. Otherwise, those institutions who are only for, graduate, only teaching academics parts, they are going to be washed out. And second thing, that the most of the accreditation, the bodies are emphasizing on the research. So if you look at, even the fortunate thing is that now the good institutions, whether it is engineering institution or other professional one, they have also started the research and promoting the research. So definitely we will, come up with a good human resource who have highly, the innovative entrepreneurships and the other skills or research-based skills required for the society. Thank you.
So I would like to ask you, sir. So what are your thoughts on this, on the, on the importance of research work in higher education, especially in the post-secondary educational system, please?
Yeah. Thank you. Being a chartered accountant, I definitely understand this situation required. We see number of technological changes happening here now and then. Just. So take an example, as blockchain, cryptocurrency, AI, ML, even NFT, tokenization, number of things are happening. But unless and until my institute doesn't respond to such changes, technological changes happening, and they are not coming with the accounting standards and the research paper on it, it won't justify. The same way, we need to adopt the problem by research. There is a problem, there is some solution required, and we think that every institute, some or other way, is contributing by way of doing some research on the problem. So my C Institute is there, they have started working on identifying what should be the accounting entries when someone is buying or selling the crypto or cryptocurrencies or NFT, tokenization, anything, such type of things are happening. So there is a problem. The institute has started doing the research on the problem, and there will be some, after some time, the standards will be fixed. The question which you asked is that how the institutes are responding. The institutes are responding. I see that a proper collaboration in some way is happening between the entrepreneurs, the startup founders, and the research institute. That will be a big stance for proper implementation of the research. In the last previous session, we also heard from many of the speakers, they say that the research papers are just kept, but not the practical implementation or execution is happening on the research papers. And so this way, the new age entrepreneurs can collaborate with the research doers and really execute the solution which has been identified in the research papers. This is my suggestion.
Thank you, sir. So I would also like to have some insights from Mr. Mayur Jamwar, sir. So, sir, what are your thoughts on this? The scope of, research in higher education.
Yeah. Let's define what are the basic preconditions of research. Research is about finding something new, add it to the human knowledge, and the most important thing is it has to be new, and it is not repetitive or it's just a hashed out product of somewhere else. And you really need to know that where you are searching, you are finding something new. The Professor M.M. Sharma once said, you don't need funding for research, you need ideas. If you have an idea, you'll find how to do that research, and somewhere you'll get an idea where to get it funded from also. And then I have had the privilege of listening to Professor C.N.R. Rao, who says it's your undergraduate students in the higher education hierarchy who can do the best research which is the answer to the whole problem. We invariably rely on our PhD students to do the research, and some of our faculty members who are post-PhD, they should do research while we employ them for the most bread and butter job, that is teaching. I think that is where the framework goes haywire. Why would a PhD student not give a great research product? Is he not interested in it? Let's look at who are our PhD students. PhD is a program of research training, and we are hoping that in the training process, some research also happens, something new does come in. So the training gets more importance, whether he has completed 3 years or not. There are regulatory issues. The student wants a degree because it's blocking his promotions or some such thing. That is where the whole conundrum of, the framework of research has gone for a 6. Undergraduate students don't have such comms. They can submit their projects on as-is, where-is basis, and the next batch of students can continue these projects. And these ideas, if they come from on a regular basis with industry collaboration, I think we have a research-ready institution automatically. The funding would come from these industries. I'm probably saying that this was the idea when CSIR laboratories were made, but then it failed because We employed people on one side who were pure academicians, pure scientists, and on the other side, industry who, their time scales were very different. On one side, people were thinking by hours. On the other side, people were thinking in terms of months. So how will that marriage work out? I think for that marriage to work out, you need to bring in people who also think in terms of hours, and those are your undergraduate students. And if we can establish a framework which does not have the bureaucratic regulatory influences, I'm sure we will be doing much better research than we are able to do today. I think I will stop at that point of time, and let's take up different questions as we go along. Please.
So, as very well said, sir, that the especially for the undergraduate student and all. But I have just I have one more point to ask. You were talking about the industry. I'll just on that topic itself. I'll probably a little continue. You're talking about the participation of industries. In this in the entire research this ecosystem. So I would just like to ask, sir. So what are your thoughts on that? Sir was just talking about involvement of industry in the research, ecosystem. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm totally agree with the Professor Hari Prakash, because why we need research or do the research. As you mentioned that it is required, it has to the new informations. But if information does not have any relevance to solve the the existing problems, I think the purpose is defeated. So if the industry is looking the new products, new processes, so they have to invest. And if anything is, in most of the CSIR lab, as he was telling why it was failed, because people started academic research and they does not have the commercial value. So the industry was not interested in that. Industry is interested only when some new product is coming out and that can be sellable. So if now the idea is, is much more important than the process or the product. As far as this, his comments that the graduate student should be considered as a progressive researcher, that's one way it's good because they have the high level of energy and they can dedicate more time and they have the ambition to go, further. But the point remains same, that how he would address it. I have an experience at Birla Institute of Technology where we have published the 2 papers in the Journal of Molecular Modeling. That has a good impact, I think 3.6 or something. And with the graduate students, and we have cultivated it for 6 to 8 months, and then we have developed some models, and that models was published. But the point is that I can name only the 2 students out of what we have graduated in our courses. Out of say 1,000 or more than this, only the 2 students. So I cannot say that they cannot be utilized, because if the ecosystem is supporting the research mind and coming together, and the teacher is very good enough, so definitely the things would be moved out. But actual, most of the universities fails to, make a framework which is really research conducive. So if it is not there, for the sake of people are doing the research, so definitely the result, as he was mentioning, okay, it's not good enough because they are not energized very well. But I can say the why the graduate, the students, if it is, have a quest to know, the better things, he will definitely find, and that can be a good researchers out of that. Thank you.
So, sir, your thoughts on it. I would just like to, have your thoughts on the industry as sir had, raised this point, Jamwar sir. So, what do you feel and believe that how should we have, more industry involvement in this, the research ecosystem, please?
Thank you. So now there are three elements already: industry, the person who is doing the research, and the institute supporting or giving the atmosphere through their innovation and incubation facility for conducting the research. I think the fourth element is missing to actually the one who is going to implement the research, the findings of the research. Okay, the problem, the solution has been identified in the research paper. But the fourth element is required where they can actually build a prototype or POC, something like that. And above top of that, there are investors' funds already. As we can see, I'm from the financial sector, there is no dearth of funds or funding required in industry. Everyone is encouraging, the startup is a big buzz now. But the ideas need to be implemented, executed properly. So the fourth element we have to find. Who is the fourth element? The fourth element is someone like a startup, a founder, entrepreneur, who has the zeal and passion to just integrate all these three elements of the whole ecosystem, and where we can practically implement the findings of the research in a business model, which both my co-panelists are sharing. A business model has to be conceptualized, which will be scalable, there is a growth, and the person ready to pay for that. Like a very commercial terms I'm speaking, unless until koi paisa deta nahi hai, to the idea is just an idea, it's okay. It's said in the startup world that there is someone who's ready to pay for that solution. So we have to identify the fourth element, and an integrated solution need to be built where industry, the corporate or the research person and the institute in collaboration with that fourth element is actually implementing the research finding, and that will be a win-win situation for all the stakeholders of the ecosystem. And that's what from my side.
Thank you, sir. Thanks on your thought. Now, Mike, I would also like to, sir, move on to a very, important point of, this having the best practices and standards in, in the field of research. So as you can understand, we can't have, we can't work in silos. Like we have, we should have more international collaboration and, student exchange and all. So I would just start with Jamwar sir first. Sir, what do you believe, how can we have best, global standards and practices in the research work, and the same in India, please, your thoughts?
Well, a few of these things have been spoken since morning, For example, having an environment of multidisciplinarity is one of them. And in India, we are so sectarian. If I borrow a word from our mother tongue, Jativad hamare yahan, it's so ingrained that a computer science engineer is not willing to talk to a mechanical engineer. Forget about engineer talking to a doctor and so on and so forth. That, I think, is the biggest issue with us. So when you are talking of frameworks, go for multidisciplinarity environment. Colin University is one great example. People, I would recommend, do a Google search on what happens in Colin University. They give a project to an 18-year-old boy and tell him in the 4 years you must complete this project and then we'll give you a degree. I think by the time he completes that project, he does not care for the degree because he has learned so much in the process. I think that is what is missing. We have changed the focus to the paper degree. We have changed the focus to an examination rather than learning. We have changed the process, the focus to the grades and the CGPA instead of skills and attitudes. We have changed the focus in so many different ways to publications no matter where, so that you are able to get a degree, paper degree, and then we say, okay, now you are wise enough to be promoted. I think that's where we are coming in from. We need to change that focus. But before I end, I must point out that none of us are saying CSR is a failed this thing. CSR, when they were given the opportunity, they have really done wonders. Many CSR laboratories are earning much more than their own salaries, but it's too little, too late kind of a situation. I'm sure there are many of our universities which are also doing fantastically well. But again, these are flashes in the pan and not the norm which we would like to go for. I think in the NEP, what has been envisaged is a multidisciplinary large university. I think that has to happen. We need to regroup ourselves. We need to recollaborate. We have a framework. And our regulators, I think they better start calling themselves enablers rather than regulators. I'm sure a lot will automatically change by one single stroke of this thing. Because they seem to tell you what you can't do rather than tell you what all you can do. And instead of finding ways of something you want to do, how you can be enabled to do that, all the time is spent in telling everybody, no, you can't do that. I think you can't do that is our biggest problem. And we need not, take the same standards as the world takes. If we are able to solve our problems, the world will wake up and recognize us. We need to set our own standards and abide by them. And be truthful to them, be transparent to them, and be very focused on to them. We need to solve problems which we are facing today. I'm sure the cryogenic engine is a great example. It was probably a duplication of research, but then that was necessary, and we did it. I'm sure we all, those who are involved and those who are not involved, all are patting their backs, and we were proud of it. I think this is what is going to get us there, and not follow the framework which has been laid down. I'm sure people will turn around and say, no, they don't seem to figure out anywhere, but they're all there. For a long time, Chinese publications were not figuring out in the great journals in the US. But today, that's not the case. People recognize that they are able to solve their problems. So their papers are probably worth publishing in this thing. And of course, I'm sure the Chinese also worked out how to, make a paper publishable in the US journals. And those are tricks of the trade, which is all right. But then, unless that respect came to these researchers, I'm sure no matter what they would have done, their papers would not have been published there where we are seeing them. Their patents would not have worked out. We need to set our own standards and abide by our own standards. Until and unless we set it ourselves, we will keep continuing to be copiers. We'll keep continuing creating coolies for Western technologies.
True.
And four of us will keep coming here and talking about this.
Very true, sir. Very true. Very true. So I would, sir, your thoughts on the same thing, please. How we can have, global standards and practices in research work in India. Yeah, please.
As Professor हरी जी कह रहे थे, हमें दो चीज़ें चेंज करनी होंगी मेजॉरिटी. See, if you look at the जितनी भी बाहर की यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, चाहे वो MIT हो, कैम्ब्रिज हो, प्रिंसटन हो, इनका एक पूरा का पूरा एक सेगमेंट बना. इनको अलाउ किया गया प्रोफेसर्स को अलाउ किया कि भाई आप अपनी इंडस्ट्री, अपना स्टार्टअप, जो आज हम कर रहे हैं स्टार्टअप के नाम पे, ये बहुत पहले हो गया था।
True.
और हमारे यहाँ ज़्यादातर यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम्स और जितने भी हैं, यहाँ हम टीचर को अपने ही कल्टीवेटेड आइडिया और मेच्योर्ड आइडिया को उसी इंडस्ट्री में करके इंसेंटिवाइज नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो एक तो यदि हम अलाउ कर दें अपने रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूशंस और यूनिवर्सिटी को, तो आई थिंक वो सिमिलर चेंज हम ला सकते हैं। सेकंड चीज़ ये है कि जो मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरिटी की बात हो रही है, एक्चुअली में जब एक प्रोडक्ट्स कोई भी हम प्रोसेस डेवलप करते हैं, तो अगर सपोज़ कीजिए हम बायोलॉजिकल प्रोसेस की एक अगर बात करें, सो हमने कोई एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया, उसकी प्रोसेस डेवलप की, न्यू ऑर्गेनिज्म से हमने किया। बट ये जो है एक साइंटिस्ट का ध्येय ये है कि उसे एक प्रोसेस करना है, नई चीज़ करना है और उसको उसके बाद छोड़ देना। वो प्रोसेस अगर मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी लोग आ जाएं या डिफरेंट सेक्टर से आ जाएं, सपोज कीजिए कि देन वन इंजीनियर इन्वॉल्व, तो वो उसमें मास ट्रांसफ़र और इसकी जो है जो लिमिटेशन स्केल अप करना है, उस प्रोसेस को भी स्केल अप कर सकता है। नाउ इफ द प्रोसेस इज स्केल अप, से फॉर एग्जांपल इट्स 2000 liter bioreactor or 100 liter bioreactor, then we have to start with the chemical engineers who can जो है purify the products and suggest the purification steps.
True.
And prevent the loss of the product during the processing.
Yes.
And meanwhile, if it is there, this is establishing. And if you look at some, the MBA people or the marketing skills,
Yes, sir.
and searching of this, that where this product can be utilized in the same team, I think then we can connect the market with the developed process. But this is totally missing, as Professor Hari was telling, कि कंप्यूटर इंजीनियर मैकेनिकल वाले से नहीं बात करना चाहता, मैकेनिकल वाला सिविल से बात नहीं करना।
Yes.
तो आप और बात कर रहे हैं हम आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की, कंप्यूटर में ये बहुत अच्छा आया, मशीन लर्निंग की हो रही है, डेटा साइंसेस की हो रही है। ये कहाँ से आए? ये लिया तो हमने ह्यूमन ब्रेन से ही ना, कि हाउ द ब्रेन इज एक्टिंग, एंड देन सम ऑफ द द एट्रीब्यूट्स वी ट्राई टू यूटिलाइज and go for the big data analysis.
True.
So why the biological scientist and the computer engineer cannot work together? Maybe some professional, the business manager or marketing executive,
Yes, sir.
can also contribute in this.
True.
So unless until we are joining hands with a different the prospects of the products,
Yes, sir.
then the things would be is always difficult. So the time is the multidisciplinarity, and the same time the inclusion of different skill set people for one project, and that should be in a commercialized mode. So
On
if we can do these two things,
On
I think our system would be
Yeah.
revamped, or it will be much, much better than the world is doing, because we are much more intellectuals, and our IQ value is
Yeah.
higher than the average of the world.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
true, sir. So somewhere, say you're coming to, the same point that sir was talking in, in his last, the commercial, this thing. So what do you say about that, sir? What are your thoughts on it? On having global practices and standards, and how we can, have them in research, and, continuing to the same point that sir was saying. Yeah.
So
Your
I like-
thoughts,
I like the point which our sir has said, that
Yes.
we should try to do the research on the problem which we are facing as of now. I would like to share one good example happened last post-COVID when we prepare our own solution of digital credential on blockchain technology. The C Institute approached us that can we prepare or submit a research paper of doing auditing and accounting with the help of blockchain technology. So you can understand the initiative taken by our institute that they can envisage the problem happening in down the line after 5-6 years, that this technology will be more prevalent, and how we can take the advantage of this technology of doing the basic accounting and auditing purpose with the help of chartered accountants. So we submitted our research paper, and definitely the institute now what they will do, they will interact with the world accounting institutes, they will collaborate with them and frame a proper research paper. Standards will be based on the research finding. Accounting standard is one of the standards which generally C institutes come out with all the things happening for any other situation. So the accounting standards now, what will happen? They will take into account the consideration, the problems which we are facing as an Indian in our own scenario, just not replicating what the standards are happening in Europe or US and other big and developed countries. So it is a practical implementation. We are finding our own findings out of the problems we have faced and doing the proper research work. And on this research work, the proper standards will be laid now, which can be framed, which can be even replicated or copied by other organizations across the globe. And I think that is a better strategy to implement.
Thank you so much, sir. So I have one more, sir, point to discuss here. What about the role of faculty in creative, having innovative approach, and, how they can help, at this level, especially at the postgrad level, if we continue on that, to, what role they can have? If you could just, have your thoughts on that, please.
See, even today, faculty are mentors.
True.
A PhD guide does not put in as much efforts as the PhD student, right?
True.
But a PhD guide is very important because he does not want the student to go haywire or get into an area where he can't come back and complete this thing. So faculty will continue to be very, very important. Only thing is, faculty would be then be ideators also. Today, a lot of problems come from the faculty. But again, faculty is hard-pressed for time. So the ideas are, again, copied, I would say. Ideas which everybody else is working on. They tend to get into areas where funding is available. But again, there are restrictions. I think open up the faculty to define these ideas. Some of the things which universities have done is send the faculty to rural areas.
Yeah.
Let them look at the problems. Let them look at, is there a problem here that we can solve using technology?
True.
I think that would have to be done with the faculty, because it's the faculty who today are the idea generators. And there are a lot of faculty who say, Acha, you tell me which area you want to do research, and then you do the finding, and then I'll just guide you. I think faculty will have to do much more than that.
Yes.
Faculty and the student together, if they are finding and defining problems which they want to solve, they really must be enabled.
Yes.
Not just rural, but urban. In fact, one such experiment, now that Karat Saab is here, has been done in MIT. They have a rural immersion program for all the undergraduate students. And some of the students who came back said, sir, the people in the rural area are much more smarter and intelligent than us, because they have found solutions which we would never arrive at, because we never face those problems throughout our life. And these people have been facing those problems day in, day out. They are innovating and they're finding solutions. That being the case, I think this is where not just rural, urban, industry, send the faculty to for industry immersion. Let them pick up those problems which the industry is facing. Industry may not be ready to give that problem as a consulting or a funded research project, but a problem remains a problem, and faculty can bring it back to the institute and take it up for further research. Give it to the undergraduate students, give it to the postgraduate students,
Yes.
and help the use it in training of our PhD students, because it's our PhD students who are going to be the faculties of tomorrow who will guide this process. So faculties continue to have that most important job of making sure the process is guided, the problems are properly defined, and the conclusions are appropriate, and the solutions are relevant and realistic. I think faculty has a much larger responsibility in the whole research process.
No doubt, sir. No
So, I'm sure a lot of our faculty have not had the pressure of making sure all these responsibilities are met, because today our research is in that process where we say a donkey is old if it's 20 years old. It's now ready to die. You can give the donkey a PhD. That thing will come out of that. We will have to then incentivize faculty. We will have to hold faculty accountable. We will have to help faculty network because they're not trained to. They are from yesterdera. And they are technologically disadvantaged also. So a lot of support systems are required around the faculty to encourage the faculty to collaborate, go out, not just with other faculties, but also with places where these problems are arising and continuously you need to solve them. So faculty really needs to start looking out of the window.
Very true, sir.
And not depend on a PhD student who will come and who will go and do the literature survey for you, and then you will define, you will publish, and that's something which will have to be enabled in the system.
Yeah.
Are we running out of time?
Yeah, sir. So I would like to have, sir, your brief, just a brief thought on the same topic that we were discussing. If you could just share
I think,
your brief.
no doubt, faculty will remain the center point for, the cultivating the research, new ideas, and finding the solution. But it happens, reverse is also happening. That the students have the query on certain things, and then if he try to find out this, the solution for this, so he will meet the faculty, scientist, or whatever the thing is, and then definitely, after churning out the ideas and doing some basic experiments, it promotes the actual research or usefulness. But the faculties, the most of the institutions, they are failed to ignite the minds, So if ignition is not there, quest is not there, I think then the faculty or as well as the scholars, may not do anything good. Thank you.
Would you like to say something on this thing, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, just
About the role of faculty, please.
faculties need to get abreast with a lot of things happening, the innovations happening around the corner. Okay, it's gone are the days we can just follow the rigid process or stuck up with our own thought process. And a faculty should not encroach their ideas or the perception on the researcher, basically. They should keep the evolving process, the thought process should be open rather than encroaching your own ideas, I think so. And there are so many things happening, the innovations happening across the globe. So right now, what I see is for faculties also, it's a very big, a daunting task to keep themselves updated with the new things happening, the technological changes happening, what are the different solutions are there in the market, and even the competitor landscape. So they need to keep their eye open. So the innovations happening, and out of those innovations, they can share their own thought process to the researcher, and that will be a very practical solution, I think so.
Yeah. So very well said, sir. So there is no doubt, sir, that the role of faculty, and especially in in having research, kind of culture and post-secondary education, that's very important. So with this, we would I would like to just conclude this session and move on to Garima. We have So.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Yes.
esteemed panelists. And
Yeah.
if I could invite Dr. Indrajit Bhattacharya, Director,
Yes.
National Accreditation Board for Education and Training, Quality Council of India, to hand over our mementos to the esteemed panelists. If you could, sir, present the memento to Dr. Sri Hari Prakash Honwat, President and Vice Chancellor, Sir Padmavat Singhania University, Udaipur. A huge round of applause, please, for sir. Thank you so much, sir. Professor Amrish S. Vidyarthi, Vice Chancellor, Bikaner Technical University, Bikaner. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Mayur Zambar, co-founder, True Scholar. Thank you so much for your presence, sir. If we can have a group photograph also, if the panelists can step up. No, he is our own. Thank you so much to all the panelists and to all our delegates in the audience.